So hi students, good evening. So today we are going to see 7th standard term 2 unit 1 first poem, the poem of adventure. So I have already posted one video for this. So in that I have explained you glossary and also about the author. So here in this video we are going to see the poem. Deep inside the mountain, the adventurers hide themselves. They are of all forms and shapes. They all have an excellent ending because those that live their lives in adventure see the world in an extraordinary special way. To attract the adventurers into the patterns of habit, you only need to close your eyes and ask them to embrace you. So first, adventure. So adventure means what? Adventure is the extraordinary and challenging deed. So if you want to do something daring things, then that is called what? Adventure. So here, see here, deep inside the mountain, the adventurers hide themselves. So deep inside the mountains, so in this world we have so many adventures. Adventures hide themselves. They are of all forms and shapes. So it is in different forms and in different shapes. They all have an excellent ending. So every adventures have an excellent ending because those that live their lives in adventure see the world in an extraordinary special way. So those who are involved or indulge and those who are doing these kinds of daring things, they are seeing this world in a very extraordinary way, in a very special way. They are not seeing this world in a very normal way. So to attract the adventures into the patterns of habit, so if you want to take doing these kind of adventures as your habit, the only thing you should develop is you should have a courage and you should have a steady mind. So if you have steady mind, then only you can do these kinds of daring things. You only need to close your eyes and ask them to embrace you. So you should love and you should do these kinds of daring things wholeheartedly. So with full interest you should do. So it should not be forced. So when you do like that, then only you can do these kind of adventures successfully. You can also imagine that you are transparent and feel the wind stream through you instead of going against you. And also you should be transparent. So doing these kinds of adventures is not a easy thing. So it's a risky one, isn't it? So while doing these kind of adventures, you might have face some problems, some difficulties, success, failure, so many things are there. So you should be very transparent to accept these kinds of things. Or imagine there are tiny little wings on your back and every time you take a new step you bounce a bit. And also you imagine that you have a tiny little wings on your back and you can fly above the sky without any barriers. So if you want to have an adventurous life, you should fly out of the ordinary mindset. So you should not have an ordinary mindset. So you should have an extraordinary mindset. So then only you can do these kinds of things. Maybe life itself is one big adventure if only you have a correct shades on. So living this life itself is a adventurous one, isn't it? So in our day-to-day life we are facing so many problems, difficulties. If you want to live your life happily, if you want to live your life successfully or peacefully, you should know how to handle, how to face and how to overcome these kinds of difficulties. Then only you can live your life happily. So I already told you this is a combination of two poems. First poem is the poem of adventure and now we are going to see the age of chivalry. That poem is different and this poem is different. In that poem we don't have any rhyming words or rhyming scheme, but here in this poem we have rhyming words and rhyming scheme. So if you read this poem you might have seen the difference. Back in the days of old when knights were bold, Who with a sword or lance in armor sought romance. So see, here the poet wants to explain the another part of the soldiers. So adventurous part of the soldiers, knights. So see these lines. Back in the days of old, when knights were bold. So in those days, in olden days, many soldiers were there. Many horsemen doing these kind of things. So soldiers were there. They were very bold enough to do anything. Who with a sword or lance in armor sought romance. So they are always with a sword or lance. So lance means what? It's a long wooden stick. So see the first picture. So that is called what? Lance. So the soldiers, they were very bold and they are always with a sword or lance. In armor sought romance, and they love to wear that armor. So see the second picture. So that is called what? Armor, because at any time they are ready to fight against anyone. So in order to safeguard their land, so that only they love to do these kinds of daring things. Back in the days of old, when knights were bold, who with a sword or lance in armor sought romance. So see these lines: old, bold, lance, romance. So these are all the rhyming words. A, B, B. That's your rhyming scheme of this stanza. It was the age of chivalry long ago in man's history, when to fight for the righteous cause one did gain considerable applause. So long ago in man's history. So it was the age of chivalry. So chivalry means what? It's collectively called. So because in those days, chivalry means that people, the soldiers, they have some social code, some moral code. So that system is called what? Chivalry. So long ago in man's history, it was the age of chivalry, when to fight for a righteous cause one did gain considerable applause. They should fight for righteous cause to gain the considerable applause. So applause means what? Appreciation, praising. So righteous cause means what? Only for good reason. So only for the good reason they fight. So they fight for the sake of their land. So see the rhyming words: chivalry, history, cause, applause. Again A, B, B. Now it was mainly for show, love and glory. They deemed themselves being worthy to capture the heart of some fair maiden, which was the most desired prize laden. So they are doing these kind of adventurous things only to show and only to gain popularity and also the love from the people, and also to sometimes to have a good life partner. So for that only they are doing these kind of things. It was mainly for show, love and glory. So glory means what? Prosperity, popularity. They deemed themselves being worthy, and also they want to show that they are brave enough to do anything to capture the heart of some fair maiden. So in those days, in olden days, you might have heard, if you want to marry a fair lady, rich lady, if you want to marry, you should do some daring things, you should do some brave or courageous things, then only you can marry such a ladies. So isn't it? So for that also they are doing these kind of things. Which was the most desired prize laden. So that is the most desired prize for them. Glory, worthy, maiden, laden. A, B, B. Oh, they would strike heavy blows on all of their opponents and foes in one-to-one combat, defying death, as crowds watched with a battered breath. So while doing these kinds of battle, they sometimes they might have got heavy blows also from their opponents and enemies. So opponents means what? Opposite party. So opponents means opposite party, and foes means enemy. So they might have got heavy blows from their opponents and foes in a one-to-one combat, defying death. So one-to-one battle. So now they are doing one-to-one battle, defying death. So defying death means what? They are ready to face death also. As crowds watched with a bated breath. So they are watched by the crowd, and that crowd was very much eager, interested. They are interestingly watching that kind of battle, and they forgot to take breath also. So see the rhyming words: blows, force, death, breath. Yes, it was far back in those days of yore that courage and strength come to the fore. So yes, it had happened long back ago. But still, if you are talking about these kind of soldiers, what comes in your mind when you are talking about the soldiers? We are talking about the courage and strength. So that only comes in your mind, where there was this life and death struggle. So they led a life, which is something like a life and death struggle. Such issues at hands the knights would juggle. So it is like a life and death struggle. So see the rhyming words: your, for, struggle, juggle. And in fighting for their country, faith and king, noble impression on people's mind would ring, that every, even through the ages, are held in high respect, high esteem. Those knights in shining armor do now all seem. So, and in fighting for their country, faith and king. So they are fighting for the sake of their country and also for the king. Noble impressions on people mind would ring. So they want to create a good impression on people's mind, so that only they are fighting for their country. So they should not stop doing something for noble cause, and they may be greatest purpose of their life in this world. So that is the greatest purpose of them. So that even through the ages are held in high esteem. So after many years also we are talking about them, and we are talking, we have some respect about the soldiers. So we have some esteem, high esteem. Those knights in shining armors do now all seem. So these kind of knights, those who fight for the cause, for the good cause, they have a high respect, high esteem. So see the rhyming words: king, ring, esteem, seem. There are many legends based on their heroic exploits, a legacy of tales which have been told with much adroit. So there are many legends. So many soldiers are there in those days to show their heroic deeds, and we have heard so many stories about them, highlighting aspects of human wisdom related to virtue and wise. So they are highlighting the human wisdom, so human knowledge. So human means what? We are doing good thing also, bad thing also. So we have negative side and positive side. So like that in soldiers life also, they also have the negative side and also the positive side. So virtue means what? Doing good things, and then wise means the opposite of virtue, so immoral things. And the lessons to be learnt are those of goodness and sacrifice. The only thing we are learning from their life is they are ready to sacrifice their life in order to safeguard their land. Exploits, adroits, wise, sacrifice. History usually repeats itself time and again. As it often happens, a situation comes when we are asked to do something for a just cause, and acting with chivalry we shouldn't pass. So history reminds, and history usually repeats. So we should not stop. We should not. If you want to take, if you want to have your, if you want to achieve, or if you want to have your rights, you should fight, and you should not stop to show your chivalry. So chivalry means what? Veera Dheera செயல்கள் சொல்லுவாங்க. So at any time you should ready to fight to get your rights, to get your chance, to get your you should ready to fight for a good cause at any time. History usually repeats itself time and again, as it often happens a situation. At any time anything can happen, so at that time you should ready to face anything. We are asked to do something for a just cause, so you should ready to fight against anyone for a just cause. So just cause means what? For a good cause. And acting with chivalry, we shouldn't pass. So you should not stop to show your braveness, you should not stop to show your courage. So at any time it is needed, so you should never stop that to show your courage. At any time you should be brave, and you should be a courageous person. So that's the end of this poem. I hope this is very useful for you. Thank you, students. Bye.